Yo, what's up? It's me. I'm here at Thammasat University here in Bangkok on the Chao Phraya River. I'm here to talk to you today on the topic of leadership and how creating a lifestyle of leadership can be sort of an unnatural way of life. Now, the reason that is if you define what is natural and what is normal as what everyone else is doing, if you take the definition of normal and you decide, well, it's what everyone else is doing, the majority is doing, well, being a leader is, in its essence, not that. So because of that, we can see being a leader and cultivating that kind of leadership within yourself as sort of an unnatural lifestyle. I'm going to go into that in university and how that plays in a second, but if you look at a survival group of people, say 10 to 15 or more, it can be a nation as well, and you take that into account. If all of them try to be leaders, they're all going to fight, and you're creating rival factions that basically kill themselves and create a worse society, worse world for themselves, because they're all trying to be leaders. What also would be unnatural is to have everyone just be a follower and you just lose large portions of your sheep. Or if you ever played lemmings, large portions of your lemmings would just die, and that's bad too. So there's this kind of balance that we need there, and the balance is kind of like a few leaders and like a big en masse group, and that's kind of the structure that we have today. The reason I bring this up is because people see leaders and they think, oh my God, it's such a wonderful experience. They get to have the penthouse and they live in luxury and all of that stuff, and this is kind of like a counter to that. The reason I bring up the whole leadership thing is, and why it may be unnatural to create these leaders, kind of forge them in a way, is because I'm kind of an outdoorsy person. I'm a traveler, obviously, as you can imagine. For most of my life, I didn't know that. I wasn't cultivating that, because in a lot of my life, I was spending time in the library, studying, crying because I couldn't do calculus, like calling my dad in university, like failing. Dad, I failed the calculus test, because I didn't know how to deal with that. And kind of, in a way, in university, you're told you are going to be a leader. You are going to be creating the future of the world, and you have to lead the nation. It's a huge burden if that's not something that you want to do. Of course, lots of obligations kind of happen when you're doing that, when you're in that kind of mindset, and studying, and instead of cultivating who you truly are or who you want to be, which is, for me, is an outdoorsy person who likes to travel and do all sorts of stuff and do a lot of moving. I spent a lot of my time cramped up in a thing because I needed to be a leader. So in that sense, if you're going to say that people in university are going to be leaders, then you're kind of supporting that creating these leaders can be a very unnatural thing for them. There are some people that are very natural leaders, and this doesn't really apply to them. And the reason I bring up that is because when you see Donald Trump in his penthouse, and you think, oh wow, what an amazing experience Donald Trump has, and or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, they have it so easy. It's like, no. If you've ever tried to lead someone or teach a subject to kids that don't care, like I've taught parkour to kids that don't care at all, it can be very, very frustrating. And it's, again, very, very frustrating. As a leader, you are dealing with all of the other issues that come with that. Let's say if people in your clan or in your tribe don't want to farm today, if they don't want to bring you the crops or do their job, you have to get on them and you have to do that. And so that's kind of like the service that the leader can provide, is making sure that the operations go smoothly and that they work out. I remember back in the States at college at Santa Cruz, I was in the ninjutsu club, and one of our sensei told us he had us do these kind of trails where he'd pick leaders who he thought was the best leader. And in the beginning, you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, I want to be a leader. That would mean respect, and it would mean, like, let's say if you're in a sort of life and death situation, you know, if you're in a tribal situation, well, the leader is generally going to have the best quarters. Well, the leader also has to deal with the most kind of crap out of pretty much any of the other people that are there. They have to deal with, if you're a leader in like a military troop, or if you're a leader on a scout run, you've got to deal with the people that aren't doing their job, and that can be very, very frustrating, and in a way pretty much compensates you for that extra living quarters. But yeah, so it was very interesting to find out that the moral of that story was basically you learned that being the leader wasn't always the best thing, because you had to deal with everybody else who's not doing their job, and you are now taking the responsibility, not just yourself and your own survival or whatever it is, but you're also dealing with everybody else for the good of everybody else. So in a way, it kind of pays for itself in terms of being a leader and getting to live in that high-up penthouse. So the moral of the story is, if you see people up in their amazing houses or their wonderful penthouse suites or something, and you think, oh, well, they're just the rich and doing this stuff. They had to do stuff to get there, and in many cases that means, if there was an entrepreneurial decision, it means being a leader and taking those risks and taking that responsibility and doing it as well. So that's just kind of another perspective. I'm not saying anybody's wrong, but if you're one of those people that goes, why does he get to be up there? Well, it's not necessarily so, but it's probably because they had to work really hard. Granted, there's always people that get what they want because they're born. I'm not really talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that did work hard and did get what they want and to create the life that they wanted. Being a leader is tough. It's not always glitz and glamour. And while being a leader for some people is very natural, it takes a lifetime of cultivation and hard work to create a leader out of someone else. And if you're feeling like it's hard to become a leader, in many cases, it's because that's part of the process. And it's kind of unnatural to make yourself into a leader. So keep that in mind and keep trying. All right, so with that said, I'm gonna crack out of here. I got class in 5 minutes. And yeah, so beautiful Thammasat, definitely different here. The kids, the students don't really, they do respect the teacher. It's an interesting thing. One Thai student told me, I said, you guys talk the whole time when the teacher is talking. Why is that? Do you guys not respect the teacher? He goes, oh no, we respect the teacher, but we also just really want to talk to our friends. So take that as you will. That's my cultural note for today. Education in Thailand. Apparently Thammasat is like the Berkeley of this area, of this country. So yeah, take that as you will. All right. With that said, I will talk to you guys later.